Okay, so the camera angle has changed a little bit because the camera did actually die. But to finish off this podcast, this episode, I have 5 extra topics. Some of them are questions, some of them are just like overall topics which we can talk about. So firstly, I have a question for you. Would you rather have a personal account, so your own money, £100,000, or a million in funding with a 90% profit split with payouts every 30 days? So which one would you rather choose to trade with?
I would take the 100k as a personal account. I'd withdraw it, and I'd spend 50k on funded accounts, and then I'd have 2 million in funding, and then I'd have 50k to go and spend on shit like cigarettes and stuff. Can I do that?
Well, you kind of cheated the question a little bit, but I guess, that, yeah, that does show your business side, I guess. And moving on, actually, do you invest outside of trading? So do you invest in? I know people put money in like stocks, index funds, crypto. Is there anything that you actually put your money in, or do you just reinvest back into like trading accounts or extra prop firm challenges?
I do some stocks sometimes. I did Facebook for a while. It's not doing very well at the moment, so luckily I was out of that. I do a few stocks. I started to be interested in stocks this year, where things are economically. It's quite a interesting place, and the strong everlasting stocks I think are a good place to go. But also I like to the one of the things of trading that I don't know if it's still a thing, but back in the day, again, I'm not that old, but back in the day, the idea of trading was to make money to put into businesses and houses and do it properly. So I had a chauffeur company last year. I bought a food trailer that everybody that knows me will know that I fucking hate that food trailer. And my partner that I bought it with, love you to bits, but it's been sat there. It cost us so much money, and now it's just a nightmare. But yeah, I do try and have other outlets for stuff, but at the same time, at the moment my main focus is on trading. Like I said earlier, I'm in a point where I'm trying to see a different level first, and then but yeah, businesses are always there. I think it's important to have a business mind and be able to go, okay, I can start a business with this, which I have done, and use it for other stuff. I think it's important. Do you think that's important? If that answered the question. Did I miss anything else out? No, I'll give it back to you then.
So you say it's definitely important to like diversify, because let's say like for a few years, obviously, let's say 5 years time, you've been investing your profits into other businesses. They're obviously going to be growing too. The more money you put into them, they're going to be growing, and then it will make those bad months trading, or like the tricky periods in trading, a lot easier, because you have other income, you have other ways of making money that doesn't require all the stress, the time, the effort. One thing I wanted to ask you about is, obviously trading is your main source of income. So your personal account, and obviously you have prop firms. Obviously the prop firms pay you monthly or bi-weekly or whatever, whichever company you're with. But personal account wise, how would you go about withdrawing your money and actually spending your money, or allocating it to either lifestyle, normal expenses, treating yourself maybe? What's that like sort of split that you look at? Or do you just do it like, okay, this is every month to my expenses. If I've got money left, so to speak, I then might treat myself? Or do you kind of remain like quite frugal, where you don't really want to splash the cash, if you know what I'm trying to say?
We mentioned this earlier, and I am very. What I said to you earlier is what I live by still at the moment, is you stay down until you come up. You don't go mad splashing cash. And actually, the funniest thing is, when I took that year and a half off, I lived off of savings for a year and a half, and I still pay myself the same amount as I was paying myself through that period. Every month. It's not a huge amount. I get my bills paid. Sometimes I even say to Joel, I'll be waiting till midnight. I've got to buy cigarettes at midnight because I've paid myself. I get to the so. It depends on what you make as well, and especially as trading is my first income, it does vary Obviously, you know, if I have a great month, then good. Yeah, depending on what I make as well. But my whole premise is just I don't like to go mad with money, and I have before. You know, you have these times where you go, oh, fucking idiot, I shouldn't have spent that much money, or I shouldn't have done this. And especially like a few years ago when I was going on holiday, I'd always go for a month at a time. Like I went to Canada, I went to Iceland, I went to Portugal 3 times. You know, just Canada. When I was in Canada, it was actually like early on in my trading, and it was the first time that I'd made like a fair amount of money. I spent all of it in Canada and came back and was like, oh, I fucking could have had that in a trading account, and now I've got to start from scratch. So, you know, I am very used to living with little amount. I don't need a huge amount. You know, it's like tonight I was like, go and get John German doner kebab, you know, rather than going out for a splashy meal. And it allows you to be able to go every once in a while. Oh, actually, I can afford to treat myself, you know, which is great. But I think the way that I do it is very variable on how much I make, and it depends on my mood as well. Like, I want a Range Rover. That's my next thing. My aim is for October, but I might get to October and go, I don't want to spend that much money, I'm not going to do it. Or I might get to next week and go, all right, fuck it, I'll buy. You know, it depends on what I'm like. But yeah, I think as a general rule, I'm quite conservative with money. If that was the question, I can't remember.
Kind of moving on from that, do you think that like having money and having those materialistic things when you were like younger made you like happier? Do you think that, I know a lot of people that have money, or they still have like a lot of money, they say, oh, money doesn't buy happiness, but they live a very nice lifestyle. I saw something, it was like Bill Gates only wears like black t-shirts or something. They're like £1,500 black t-shirts. It's not the same, is it? They're probably like silk or something. But like, they might look like they're living that normal lifestyle, but they're not. So it's yeah. So do you think you just got to get it out the way, like the materialistic thing, and to see if it will make you happy? Because some people think, oh, I'm doing my trading, I'm not happy right now, but let's say I get a Lamborghini, I could drive my Lamborghini around, then I'll be happy. But you get the Lamborghini, and you're like, well, what do I do next? I've reached my end goal. Let's say they're 20 years old, they've reached the end goal. What do you do for the rest, like 50 years or something? Do you think you got to get it out of the way? Do you think you should just completely avoid that like materialistic thing? And I guess if you like cars, it's different, but you get what I'm trying to say.
It's very interesting, the money and happiness thing, and it always has been. And I think there's a lot of people that have said it, and it's very true. It's just you need it. It's as simple as that. If you don't have money, you're sad. And you know, can't speak for anyone else, but personally, I've had lots of times in my life where I haven't had any money. Like fucking really not had any money. And it's that thing of, if you don't have money and then you make money, it makes you happy because it allows you to do things that you couldn't do. If you've already had money, it's not going to do anything for you. But I think you have to be careful with the whole, when I get it, when I get here, when I get that. You really need to get rid of that. Fucking forget it. The amount of times that I'll be on the phone to Joel after a shitty day or a shitty week and be like, I fucking love it. I fucking love this shit. Like, you know, I'll go and have a cigarette, I'll look at the view and I'm like, sick. You have to be able to enjoy everything. And then when you get something nice, you'll enjoy it more. But if you're sad and you go and buy a fucking Rolex, you're not going to be happy because you bought a Rolex. Nice, by the way. It will make you happy if you go, I've earned this. And that I'm happy because of what it means. You know what I mean? This watch for me is a Swarovski something. It's probably 300 quid. I bought this when I was in the chip shop, and it still lasted. And I wear it because I like looking at it and going, I've had this view and seen chips underneath it, and I've had this view and I see it's the same thing. It's a personal thing. It's a personal thing, and I like that. But I think, you know, you have to be really careful with especially trading is the worst for it. When I make this much money, when I get my Lambo, when I do, it doesn't work like that. But if you earn it and you're happy in the meantime and you enjoy the process, when you get it, it will make you happy. Of course it will, because it will mean something, you know. So I think that's all there is to it with happiness. And also happiness is kind of, you've got too much time on your hands if you're thinking. And you know, you've probably both seen the same guy talking about it, but he's very true. Is sometimes if you're down and you're feeling a bit shit and you're thinking, oh, I'm not happy or what's going on, if you start doing stuff, you'll forget that you would. It's true. It's not bollocks. Like, the other night, I actually had like an hour where I was like stressed, or I was thinking, oh, have I done everything I need to do, or haven't done this, and am I where I want to be, and I've got deadlines in my head for things that stress, whatever. And I just thought, fuck it. I put a different playlist on, a bit of a savage one. I was like, oh, fucking yeah, let's go. I'm good. I'm busy. I was thinking, right, okay, I've got this. It's all about how you view things, but for any traders, forget the material stuff making you happy. You want to enjoy the challenges, and you want to enjoy the intelligence, because every day you trade, you're outsmarting someone, or they're outsmarting you. Simple as that. You want to enjoy that. I outsmarted someone today. I was better than something else today, or I made money today, or even if you lose money and then you stay in a good psychological place, that's a win. Because there's two parts to your job. One, the biggest one in psychology. If you don't need a day off the next day and you're ready for the next day, even though you lost money the day before, you've still won, and you should enjoy things like that, and seeing friends and conversation. Like we were saying, we talked before this, but I love fucking talking to people. It makes me happy because I feel like you learn things, and it's what life's about. But anyway, happiness is not from material things, but they do make a big difference, and you do need money to be happy. If you don't have enough money to buy a cup of coffee, which I have been at that point, nothing's going to make you happy at that point. Even a fucking gorgeous sunset, you go, that is really, really nice, but I'm hungry. So yeah, it's a very fine line between you need money, but don't let it be everything, I think.
Quickly going back onto the point you made about a loss being a win. Do you also, I think it was McGregor who actually said something like, if you go to sleep on a win, you wake up in a loss. Because if you go to sleep, you've won a trade, I'm unstoppable. No one can beat me, even the markets. You think, oh, I'm better than the markets, I'm better than any other trader. I've just won this many trades, or I've just made this much money. You think you're unstoppable, and then boom, the markets humble you. So if you go to sleep on a win, you wake up on a loss. And sometimes the other way around, if you go to sleep on a loss, you can wake up, you could feel motivated maybe, like you want to actually improve and win. But then it's like we were saying earlier about the phase one. You pass the phase one, you go to sleep on a win, wake up on a loss, because you think you're unstoppable, you think you're invincible, you can beat the markets, but you can't. You're just going to soon be humbled and then be back to square one again.
Sorry if you hadn't finished, but I'm ready for that one. And everything in life, and this is, I think, science. I think science. There's an equilibrium. So there's a pendulum, right? So if you swing something that way, it'll go that way. Eventually, it'll find the middle. And you can see it. If you have a really good day, the next day is usually a shit day. It's just science. It's if you make loads of money and you get carried away with making loads of money, you'll lose money, because everything has to have a balance. So the more you can balance yourself out, the better, always. And it's the same. I've forgotten what we were talking about. I don't know why that's happened. What were you talking about? Anyway, the equilibrium, right, is even if you think about drinking, yeah. If you get drunk and you go to bed and you're very drunk, you wake up and you're very hungover. If you stay up and you balance out before you go to sleep, and you drink water and you're not as drunk when you go to sleep, you wake up feeling better. Everything has a balance. You have to find a balance, and trading is very, very like that. You can't handle losing money the same way you can't handle making money. You have to find the balance of both. And if you go, I'm going to make £100,000 in the next 3 weeks, you won't make 100,000 in the next 3 weeks. If you go, I'm probably going to lose £100,000 in the next 3 weeks, you probably won't lose 100,000. That's like, it's a massive thing. If you go, I want to try and make 40 grand in the next year, doable, it's fine, and you balance yourself out. But yeah, I don't know what we were talking about. I haven't got a clue. So there you go.
I remember one of my points as well, about the materialistic things, because you said avoid it if you're a beginner trader or something, or like you started making money. But I think
no, I don't know. If I said that, I don't agree with that.
You said forget all the materialistic stuff.
Forget it. Forget it in the way of that is not what will make you happy, but exposure. Is that what you were getting at?
I was gonna say something. What I was gonna say was the only time I personally will buy something materialistic, like this watch, is when I meet or go past certain milestones. So I think I bought this. It was in March, I think, and I had my first 60k month, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna treat myself now, and then what I'm gonna do is when I make my first 100k month, I'm gonna buy a Patek Philippe, and then when I make first million in a month, maybe a Lamborghini. I don't know. I don't really like Lamborghinis, to be honest, but maybe just for the sake of it, you know. But I don't know. McLaren. But I think materialistic stuff is only good if it's either it has a meaning, you've reached a certain milestone, or something you've always wanted. Let's say when you're younger, you have posters of McLarens, but then let's say you're watching this and we talk about don't do materialistic stuff. If you've always dreamed on having a McLaren, buy a McLaren, because obviously that's what you've wanted to do. You've always wanted a McLaren. You've always wanted to drive one, own one, get one. Is there anything that you've done when you've reached certain milestones, or do you kind of keep it quite reserved?
I just the other thing that I just was thinking at that point, that the other benefit of material stuff is exposure. It makes you want it more. You know, like you, for example, if most people have never been in a Lamborghini, if you've been in a Lamborghini, you go, I fucking want one of these. I don't know. If you don't like cars, you won't. But you know what I mean. It's the same principle. And for me, when I was younger, there's a guy that I don't really talk to anymore. I don't know what happened, but his dad has always had S classes, and I used to go around the house as a kid. I didn't have a lot of money, and I used to go there, and I'm so grateful for it, because it was like one of the biggest exposures I could have ever had. Was I'd go to his house, you know, walk down the driveway, and he used to have this massive house. Like, you know, you'd walk down the driveway to the football pitch, and you'd have to go past the tennis court, and you know, whatever. Fantastic. But I used to walk down and past this S class every day, and I'd be like, that is a fucking gorgeous car, man. That's such a gangster car. It's beautiful, you know, blah blah blah, whatever. And last year I bought my S class, and it was the same thing, where I was like, I remember fucking waking up in the mornings going to pick it up. It's just the best thing ever. It is the best feeling in the world, and it doesn't have to be a car, it doesn't have to be a watch. It's whatever it is that, like you said, if you had posters of it as a kid, or if it's something that you grew up wanting, it really means something. And for me, it was, I think, the most notable one. The most notable two were the S class and this flat where I live now. And the S class was a big one, because especially at my age, you don't really see people my age driving S classes, because the insurance is ridiculous. It was like $9,000 for insurance, and that was before points. But I just every single time I got in it, every single time I saw it outside somewhere, I went for a coffee with my friend, you know, parks it across the road, and I just sit there and be like, it's fucking mad, you know. And those things I think are just amazing. They're so good. But that was for me. The S class was one. And the other one was this flat. During COVID, actually, I used to send Joel links of flats in London, like every day. He'd get annoyed at me, and I'd be like, "Look at this, look at this." He'd be like, "Fuck off." I'd be like, "Please just look, man. I really like it." And so I'd look at all these flats with like nice views and high up flats, exactly like this. And I forgot. And he came up here. He was here the other week. We were talking, and he was like, "Do you remember when we used to send me flat links?" And I almost cried, because I was like, "Fucking hell, I forgot about that." You know what I mean? And it's the same as the S class. When I was a kid, I used to be like, I really want one of those. Then I bought it, and you remember, and you're like, fucking hell. It's amazing. Absolutely. I mean, how I ended up in this flat isn't the story. It's not amazing, but yeah, I think I've answered that one. My brain's slowing down.
Speaking about brain slowing down, you've posted a lot about your sleep and how you only sleep like, what, 10 minutes? 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So, do you think that, I know you said earlier you're doing like, was an experiment or something, but do you not think, like, scientifically it's been proven that like optimal sleep is like 6 to 8 hours? Do you not feel that if you're getting 2-3 hours, you're literally only 50% recovered compared to what you could be with those few extra hours. Like, if let's say you're sleeping for 3 hours, right? 21 hours awake. Are you doing productive activities for 21 hours every single day of the week for 365 days? Could you add in 3 hours extra sleep in a day to get to like an optimal recovery level?
First of all, sleep is stupid and it's for losers. Losers fucking sleep when I'm awake. Now, what's the time now? It is 1:15 in the morning, and we're doing this. We're working. Are you tired? Good. He said he's never tired. If you can't hear that, it's the right answer. Yeah, we're never fucking tired. And this is the point. Yes, we are. Of course we are. I don't stay up all the time forever, but there's so many points to this, man. There's so many points to this. My main point. Okay, I'll start with the main point. My main point is you're just fucking doing as you're told. Someone tells me I need to sleep 8 hours a night, so I go, okay, I need to sleep 8 hours a night. I just think it's stupid, right? Yes, your health will be affected. Okay, this is a problem. Yes, but how bad do you want? You have to sacrifice for everything, man. If you're learning how to trade and you go, I don't want to spend 6 hours on the charts because my eyes are going to hurt. Well, don't then. That's fine. But fucking Billy Bob over there has just spent 12 hours on the charts and he's doing better than you. Anyway. So, the other thing is, you don't, not you, sorry, not you specifically, but people don't know what their limits are. And this is the point that I'm making with the sleep. I sleep 3 hours a night for the weeknights, and then I try and rest on the weekend. I might do that for 2 weeks in a row or 3 weeks in a row. And that whole time, my energy is fight or flight because I'm tired. So as soon as I start going, am I tired? I go, fuck no. Like, let me do something. Or I'll call Joel and I'll just shout at him for 10 minutes. Ask him. I will call him, and by the end of it, he's like, the energy's up. Like it's on fire, you know. And it's that thing of, if someone says to me now, something really important, I need you to stay up until 2 a.m. It's not a problem at all. It's not even a fucking. I'm like, is that it? Whereas some people, if you go, oh, you've got to stay up till 2 a.m., they go, oh mate, that's a bit late, isn't it? So although, like, being serious now, yes, of course, sleep is very important. It is, and I do catch up on sleep in good times, and I don't do all the time just lack of sleep and low sleep. I do periods of it. But for example, I went to Scotland. My mum moved to Scotland. I drove her up there. It's a very long journey. When she moved back, she moved back, I went to pick her up again, and it was a 11-hour drive. She was like at the top of Scotland, and I went from Kent. 11-hour drive up there. I did it in one, stopping for fuel. I had my ciggies on the way as I was going. Stop for fuel, carry on. 11 hours. Got there in the morning, and she was ready to go. The bag's packed. It's 5 o'clock in the morning by the time I got there. She was ready to go. And I looked at her, and I could tell that she just wanted to get out of there. And I'd just been driving for 11 hours straight. And she was like, are we ready? I loaded that fucking van up, drove another 6 hours. If you say to someone, can you drive from Kent to London, which is an hour and a half, they go, oh, that's a fucking long way. So it's not, the sleep thing is not so much that it's good for you. It's just you should be able to do more than most people. Does that make sense? You should have the capability to do it. It's not so much that you should do it all the time. And my sleep thing will not go on forever. I'm just going to do it for a while and piss people off and cause some trouble, and then I'll go to sleep, whatever. But my whole point is that you don't know what you can do. You don't know how much you can push yourself. And it's a certain extent when people say to me, yeah, but surely you're not working at your full potential. Surely you're tired. I'm like, how do you know that? Because science told you. Okay, the science is there, but I'm telling you for a fact, I'm not tired. I'm working. I'm up in the morning. Like Joel said to me earlier. I said, "What time did you go to bed last night?" I was like, 5 o'clock. So what time did you get up? I was like, 9 o'clock. He was like, how? I was like, I'm good. It's fine. I got up and had a coffee. I'm excited about the day. I get on with it. And then when I'm tired, I sleep. And then later on in life, I will sleep, man. I will sleep and I will suffer for it and I'll do whatever. But at the moment, how bad do you want it? I want to be up trading at the moment. I don't really want to be in this trade. Ironically. But you know what I mean? I trade the Asian session, I trade the London session, I trade the New York session. And that's because it makes me feel like I'm moving. Makes me feel like I'm getting somewhere. And then later on, I'll sleep. Does that make any sense? But it is the main point, and I'll leave it on this. The main point is find out what you're capable of doing, and don't be a bitch. That's it.
But do you not think you're kind of at the level where you don't need to be not sleeping to then outperform someone that's spending however many hours on the charts, because you're already at the level? You've gone through the hours of learning, the non-sleeping, to learn. You now know what to do, so you don't have to spend that many hours on the charts. You could spend an hour on the charts a day and probably get the same results just by, let's say you want to see price come to 1900 in gold. Right. It was at 1895. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you just set an alert and go about your day? The alert goes off. Okay, now I have to look at the charts, rather than just trading. It's not actually trading really, but like that's when I guess you're saying people should put all the hours in. But if you're a profitable trader, I don't think you should. I think less is more. I think less is more, 100%. And obviously it is strategy dependent, but I still think the more time you're on the charts, the more susceptible you are to overtrading.
Of course. But the thing is, okay, first of all, the idea of being at a certain level so you don't have to work very hard anymore, I hate it. I'm not saying that's what you said, but I'm saying that can be a thing where you go, okay, I live in a decent place, I make decent money, it's good. You think of people like Kobe Bryant, where he was like the top fucking NBA player at some point, you know, in time, whatever, R.I.P. Kobe. But you've heard all these stories of people being like, yeah, I went down to the gym at 4 a.m. and Kobe was sweating already. He'd finished an hour of training before doing another set of training, you know, blah, blah, blah. He's working hard. And they'd be like, why are you doing that? And he's like, because I want to be great. I want to do the best thing. I'm not saying that, you know, I want to be top of the world and everything, but I like having that mentality, man, of like the fighting spirit. I don't like to be just like, oh, okay, you know, things are good and whatever. And, you know, it's the same as what we said with the dribbling. You know, you do the basic, the fundamental stuff, and then the greats are the people that do that and then do the extra stuff. I agree with you on the less is more to an extent, but I also disagree, and I disagree because chart time equals experience. Think of it. No, it's arguable. It's arguable. But my point is, I have spent so many hours on the chart, and I say this to Joel as well. But we both spent so many hours on the chart that when we see something, we've seen it a lot of times. If you backtest something at the end of the day, or you have an alert, I use alerts all the time. Don't get me wrong. Like if I put a trade on, I don't sit and watch it. I don't sit and stare at it. I go and do something else. But I'll put alerts on, one here. If price goes, then I'll check it and I'll go back to it. But there's been so many times of I've seen something develop in front of my eyes on the charts that now when I see it happening again, I can react to it a lot quicker than someone that has spent less time on the charts and has had alerts on, as an example, and gone at the end of the day and gone, oh, what happened here? Okay, that happened. Whereas when something's happening and I've actually physically seen it happening as it's happening now, thousands of times, because I've spent so many hours on the charts, I can react way quicker than someone else on that, if that makes sense. You know, it's like if you've never seen someone pull a gun out before, and versus someone who's in the army, as soon as someone goes like this, they're going to go, but he's pulling a gun out. Whereas someone that's never seen it, they go, what's he doing? What's he doing? Bang, you know, you're like, oh shit, it's too late. So it's not, I mean, it's a very dramatic way of looking at it, but I understand that 100% you are exposing yourself to overtrading, and you're exposing yourself to making more mistakes because you're spending so much time on the charts that you're indulging them, you're not having the right balance and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that's where, if you bring up your psychology with it, or if you bring up your ability to manage your emotions at the same time with it, and you enhance both of it, then it's not a problem. Overtrading is only a problem if you can't combat it. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're like, oh, if I sit on the charts, I'm going to overtrade. It shouldn't be like that, man. You should be able to sit on the charts and go, I don't see anything, I'm not going to trade. Otherwise, that's a problem in your psychology. Not that I'm perfect, but I'm very capable of looking at charts and not trading because I know that it's stupid, and I've spent enough time experiencing that to go, yeah, I don't need to overtrade, and I can combat that. Whereas if you said to someone, okay, you have to do a day's trading, they go, yeah, but if I'm on the charts for more than 5 minutes, I might overtrade. It's not a very strong psychology to have on it. Not everything works. If it works, good. And I always say that if you, it's like when we were speaking earlier. If someone takes a few trades and that works, it works. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to darken anyone else, but also I have a lot of people that message me and go, "Oh, you made me want to get up today because I was in bed and you were like not sleeping." And I looked at the time and it was 3 o'clock and you were up. So to a certain extent, I do it as well to fire other people up because I enjoy that. And I have friends that, when they've gone through stuff, they say to me, "Mate, your energy is fucking unbelievable and it keeps me going." So I enjoy that too. I enjoy people going, even though I might be a bit tired, and then someone messages me and goes, "Oh, you fired me up." I go, "Yeah, that was worth it then. That's cool." Does that make sense? So sometimes it's not even a beneficial thing health-wise or whatever. There's other reasons for it, but yeah, the chart time thing, I find it interesting. I do find it interesting because obviously there's a balance. There is a balance, and that's pushing to the downside. But there's a balance. But I have this inherent problem with people that have a go at me for being on the charts. Because I'm like, it's my fucking job. What do you mean? Like, it's like the whole time you're learning, you say, "Oh, more chart time, more chart time, more chart time." And then they go, "Why are you on the chart so much?" It's like, well, because it's my job. It's what I'm meant to be doing. I'm meant to be studying it, analysing it, practicing stuff, experiencing stuff, and getting better at it, and putting time into it, and expanding my craft. That's the whole point, is to get better at it. And I think that you have to put time in to do that. There's no way that I'd work on my psychology without putting time into it. It's not just going to happen. So I do understand everybody's points. Yes, sleeping is healthy, whatever. And I do understand that you don't want to open yourself up to overtrading, but also shut up. So there you go.
Do you not think though that, let's say you trade London session and New York session, for example, if you go onto the charts, let's say you get the gold chart up, and you don't see anything that fits. Let's say you don't see anything that fits your strategy. Go off the charts. Do you agree with that?
Or look at a different pair.
That's another point. I always say to people, only trade one pair. 1 or 2 pairs. One pair is, in my opinion, the best way to make money trading. If I said to someone that's, let's just say, trading 2 years, and they trade 10 different pairs, what was the price of blah 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 last week? What was the price of last month? What's the price of it right now? If they can't tell you that, they shouldn't be trading a pair. Because, like myself trading gold for 3 years, like 3.5 years or something, you've got to know everything about that pair. You've got to know, okay, I can't remember if it was you or someone else that was saying to me that at a certain time of year, it's a good time to buy gold. Yeah. And if you don't know these things about the pair you're trading, and don't give away the secrets. But if you don't know everything about that pair, when to trade that pair, I think it's just a waste of your time being on the charts. Like myself, I used to try and trade gold in London session. I put the backtesting in, looked at all my data. I was like, the majority of the time I'm losing. Cut it out completely. So now I know if I'm trading gold, I don't even look at the charts till 1:30. And then if I'm on the charts at 1:30, if I don't see anything that's near my strategy, I'm done for the day. So then obviously a lot of people get into trading, and that probably you're the same. The reason I got into trading is for that sort of lifestyle, the freedom. I don't think you're getting any freedom from being sat at the charts 20 hours a day or even 10 hours a day. I just think, why get into the trading for the financial freedom to be able to do whatever you want whenever you want, working for yourself, if you're stuck at the charts all day? It's literally like an office job. Why become a trader? I guess you could enjoy trading, but I just personally think if you're getting into trading for freedom, you're just getting rid of all your freedom, because you're having to be stuck there inside by yourself, staring at a screen, bad for your eyes as well, all day, bad for your posture, your sleep, your eyes. But if you limit that to, like, let's say half an hour a day on the charts, which I think is like optimal, once obviously that's when you're profitable. If you're not profitable, hour a day, you got no chance, because you just can't get enough done, I don't think. Obviously, there's going to be a case where people only have an hour a day. I guess you could just make more time, but it's about what you do in that hour. Because for an example, let's say you spend 10 hours a day on the charts, and I spend 1 hour a day on the charts. If in that 10 hours, you're not doing anything productive, and in the 1 hour I'm there, I'm marking up, blah, 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 2 different pairs. If price comes to these levels, I'm going to look to enter. I say that's more optimal than 10 hours of just, okay, if it comes to here, I might buy, but if it comes to this level, I might sell. Okay, now it's looking like a sell, I'm going to sell. Oh, actually, it's looking like a buy now, I'm going to buy. I think if you have that set thing of, if it comes to this level, I'm buying. If it doesn't come to this level, I'm not even going to enter. I always believe in, okay, my bias for today on this pair is bullish. If it breaks that, I'm not even trading, because that's what I was looking for. If it breaks that, I'm not interested in trading. And I know you trade very differently to me, so you're going to have different opinions on this, but that's just my thoughts on it. With obviously the one pair, the one session, the one, I don't know how you call it, strategy, I guess, way of trading.
I disagree with a lot that you're saying. I do, and it's fine. It's not a problem. It's not a. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And this is, I think, actually the thing that matters is the point. One of the points that you made is you get into trading for the freedom. Why would you give it up? Right? I didn't get into trading for the freedom. I got into trading to do what I wanted. There's a difference, right? But to me, I enjoy the challenge, and it's the same for Joel and I. Is both the same. We get fucking bored out of our brains, bro. If I'm not stressed or in a situation where I'm like I want to try something and push something, I'm like, I'm bored. I'm fucking bored. Sometimes it's nice, you go for a walk and you decompress, but that's after you've had a busy week. If I haven't had a busy week, then I'm just doing fuck all. So yeah, some people do get into it, like for us, where you enjoy the challenge, and I think that a lot of, I mean, it's very hard to I don't want to upset anyone. I've been very behaved today, so I'm going to carry on being very behaved, but I think it's different reasons and different things, isn't it? And if something works for someone, then it's great, and that's all that really matters. Let's be honest, that's all that really matters. If you can come on the charts and make good money in the day, done, finish, whatever. But for example, if you're looking at gold and you say my bias is bullish for the day, I'm only taking it if it comes to here, whatever, blah blah blah. It's just hypothetically me versus you on that trading that day, right? If it doesn't hit your level, you won't take it because it's not part of your rules. Fine, you haven't lost any money. If it doesn't hit my level, I'm still looking at it, I'm understanding why, and I might take it and make money. Do you understand the difference? So it's not that it's bad, it's not that it's good, it's just different. And actually, at the end of the day, for me, I don't always have a huge bias on where something's going until I've seen the way that I trade is a certain way that I only see when I've found orders and stuff, whatever. So there's certain things that I do, but it means that also if I'm wrong, I can adapt to it very quickly. So if someone says, "Oh, I'm bullish for the day," as an example again, and then you at the end of the day you go, "I should have been bear, like I was wrong there," which happens, but. So you've not taken the trade because it didn't meet you. So you haven't actually lost anything, or maybe you did take the trade and you lost it, or either way. Whereas for me, I am fluid. I've just changed what I think rather than being wrong. You understand what I mean? So instead of having the I should have been bearish, I'm like, okay, fine, I'm bearish. It's fine, doesn't matter. And the thing with changing different pairs, again, it comes down to if it works. And this is, I do disagree with you on it, but only individually. This is what's interesting about it, is we can't actually disagree on things for everybody's behalf. We can't disagree for the industry. We can disagree and say, I don't do that, and you do that, and you don't do that, and I do that, and whatever. But for me, I don't know I'm in an Aussie CAD trade right now. I can't remember what price it is. I don't know what price it is. And on Friday I would have, because I was in the middle of my work week or whatever. Right now I'm not sure. But for me, I work on opportunities. I work on what I see in the market at the time on orders. I can flick through the pairs and I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking at. It doesn't specifically mean that I have my set 5 things, as an example, hypothetically, but it means that I'm not going in completely blind, and most of the time I'll still end up doing roughly routine stuff, but it just is not as regimented, if that makes sense. So I'll still, end up taking a GJ trade going into London session. It will just so happen that that's what I look at that time, and it will end up going in it. But if I don't see something, I might switch to AJ, and then I'll catch it in the New York session and whatever, blah blah blah. But like, I know this attitude comes from people that I've seen and spoken. It comes from exposure to stuff. It's not just me making it up. It's like I'm not going to say any names, but it's like someone that I know, for example. He was calling the whole market for weeks, like sleeping 2 hours and then doing like chaotic stuff, and then so I've seen it. I've seen people do it. It's possible, and that guy made fucking loads of fucking money. So I'm like, how bad do I want that? I'm willing. Okay, cool. I'll try my best to do it. I'm not great. I'm not the best at the moment. I'm not perfect, but I'm very capable of flicking through pairs and quickly understanding where they are and adjusting to that. What time frame are we in? What sort of session are we in? What sort of period is the what structure are we in? What direction are we in? And I can quite quickly understand it. It doesn't mean that I'm better than anyone else. It just means that I trade differently. But just in my personal opinion, and this is why I don't want to upset anyone that does focus on one pair, and that's absolutely fine. If you put someone that focuses on one pair and is good at that one pair versus someone like that I could recommend, and they can focus on 6 pairs differently, and they can trade, jump in and out of them, and they can adapt really quickly, that you won't stand a chance. And that's not in a bad way, because you're making money, so it doesn't matter. And actually over the month you might make more money, but this is what I mean. It's very hard to agree and disagree on behalf of everyone, but it's just a personal thing for me. Is I would rather be flicking through them and busy and doing my job, and like if you go to a bank, they're not taking one trade and only looking at the charts for an hour. They're there all day, every day. So I'm doing the same job as them. Does that make sense? So that's another point. But again, don't get me wrong. If I could take one trade and be like, yeah, good, I'd do it, but I can't. My brain doesn't let me. It doesn't want me to do that. It's like, why are you being lazy? It doesn't mean it is lazy. My brain just says you're being lazy. Get on with it and do something else. So yeah, it's a funny one. It's a personal disagreement that I like to take the piss out of everyone for, because it's just funny. It's the same as sleep. Like, let's be honest. I'm not stupid. Everybody's right and I'm wrong, right? Like, more sleep is better scientifically. Yeah, it's factually I'm wrong, so to speak. But it's funny, isn't it? But bro, like if I on my story, when I go, you stupid idiots, you're sleeping, you lazy fucks. How many people go in my DMs? Oh, what do you mean? You have to sleep. Why aren't you sleeping? Blah blah blah. It's funny. I'm just like, you're listening to me. I'm not listening to myself. I'm still going to sleep at some point. I'm just not telling you. You know what I mean?
You're not gonna like this, right? But I personally think one time frame, one pair, one session.
One time frame as well.
I trade one time frame.
Oh.
That's it. Because
Oh man.
that's yeah. Because obviously you're making money, I'm making money. It's fine. So obviously you can trade anywhere. You could use indicators, and I mean, Actually, maybe not that far, but okay, you probably can use indicators, but I still think that if you've collected all that data, you don't need to have all these pairs. You don't need to have all these different setups. You don't need to have all these different time frames, because you know this time frame, this pair, this setup, this day works. And you know exactly the percentage. So you know when you're entering that trade, this is the chance I could lose. Based on a year's previous data, this is the probability I'm actually going to win this trade. Whereas if you've got 10 different pairs, 5 different setups, and throughout the day you're switching between the pairs, oh, I'm buying this one, actually you go into another pair, you go back on the other pair, oh, it's a sell now, I'm in drawdown, I've got to close that, enter a sell, back on the other pair, oh, what's it doing now, I'm not really sure. I think you can, that's another way I think you can overtrade quite a lot, because if the more pairs, the more exposure.
But just off of that though, but that depends on your cognitive ability. Right? Yeah. If you're able to manage, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I never usually in more than one trade, but there are people that can manage 3 trades at once, especially like I said before, in banks, bro. They're managing so many different positions with huge amounts of money, and they're round the clock. They're never out of a position ever. They're always in a position all the time. So it can also be a cognitive performance thing. Like there are 3 people that can trade 3 pairs and keep an eye on 3 pairs.
We're talking about the average retail trader.
I don't want to be an average retail trader.
People that are watching aren't bankers.
Well, they should fucking want to be bankers. They shouldn't want to be a fucking average retail idiot. No, it's not so. Look, this is the thing again. It doesn't. If you make money, it's fine. It's cool. It doesn't matter. And actually, but for example, when you said about trading one time frame, did you notice I was like one time frame, and then I didn't say no. Because I can see that, I can understand why that would work. I've done it myself. I understand the markets enough to go, yeah, that would work. You know, I had someone come up here last week and they're talking about order blocks. Have you heard about order blocks? I've always never really paid attention to them. And I said to him, show me these order blocks. Like I wasn't just like, that's bollocks. Like, you know, blah, blah, blah. I said, show me them. And then I was questioning him on it. I won't say what we found, because that's like, you know, for other people to figure out. But it's all depending on what people do, and at the end of the day, who am I really to say what's right or wrong? At the end of the day, all I can have is my opinion, and that's it. And I can take the piss out of everyone with it as much as I like. That's just also my right. And then at the end of the day, if you're making money, perfect, and everybody's happy, and it doesn't matter. That was a nice
bit of motivation. But yeah, I agree. No one especially I see a lot of people comment on other people's risk as well. Right. They're like, okay, you've got 30 lots. You don't know their account size, their stop loss size, the pair, their risk, and it's like, well, you can't. Yeah, you can't ever comment on someone else's trading. No, you can't. Like,
if they're trading SMC or trend lines or indicators or stuff like then yes, I will comment on it. You're a fucking retard. SMC stupid, trend line stupid. What else is stupid? I'll think and come back to you.
So SMC, interesting topic. Stupid. So do you not think it's possible to catch a 1 to 1,000 and 10x your account in one trade, risking 1%? Does that not seem plausible to you?
It's possible. Of course it's possible. It can happen, right? It's like a meteor hitting the earth. It can happen. Yeah? Do it again. Can you do it again? No, of course you can't, because you didn't even mean to do it in the first time. It's bollocks. It's fucking... Look.
See, the thing is, the marketing side of it is the worst. Like, SMC, trading-wise, it works. Anything works, to a certain extent. It works. Yeah, I mean, you can trade anything, because I guess they have like the high risk rewards, which means you have low win rate, I guess. But I think the issue is they claim 1 to 100, 1 to 500. You know, I see the ads on Instagram, and it's like, prove it. I've never seen a track record from an SMC trader. If you're catching a 1 to 100, you'd be on the top of prop firm leaderboards. You'd be a millionaire. 200k FTMO, 1 to 100, 200k profit in one trade. You'd be a millionaire a couple of weeks. But I think the issue is they say, oh, I made 100%. Well, you didn't. You closed 80% of it at 1 to 5. Yeah, so they take profit early. They take like large partials, and then they claim to catch a 1 to 100. And I think the main issue with it is they have such low win rates. They're on like the 1 second, 30-second time frame with like a 1 pip stop. It's not really possible on many brokers, but unless you're trading EU only, I guess. But if you lose 9 trades in a row, you're down 9%. How likely is it that you're going to be able to hold that 10th trade to over 10% to make back those losses, like to hold to your target after those 9 losses? Majority of people will close it early. They're in profit. Oh my god, they're at 1 to 3. Let me take the profit. They won't actually.
Especially after losing money.
Yeah.
The thing is as well, right? I had this guy not long ago saying, "Oh, I'll take 1 to." It was a very good risk reward, right? Similar. It wasn't that ridiculous, but it was similar. It was like, I'll take these all day, and then I only need 1 to come through. I was like, that's fucking ridiculous. Why the fuck would I take 5? If out of 5 trades, for example, why would I take 5 trades where I might lose 4 of them? What? The idea when you place a trade is not to lose the trade in the first place. What are you talking about? It's ridiculous. And the problem that I have with the SMC shit, I don't even know what it is. I haven't even looked at it. I'm going to be honest, I actually haven't. But I can tell you for a fact, I don't care. Because the problem that it has is, like you said, it's the marketing. It's not so much that it might work. I'm not even putting an opinion on it. I'm putting an opinion on what it does to retail traders as they look at it and they go, that's what I should be doing. That's what I should be doing. Oh man. Oh yeah, I can get rich in one trade, and oh, this is possible. But it's very misleading, bro. It's very bad for people. It's very bad for psychology. It's bad for your risk management. It's bad for your trade management. It's bad for your account management. It's just stupid shit that you should not be taking trades with. Man, it's just bad. The whole thing's just bad. But this is the other thing. You said, I don't know if you want to adapt it or change it, but you said anything works, right? Like in trading, anything works. Do you still think that?
Yeah.
You think anything works in trading? Okay. My expert opinion on it is not whatever. Things work for reasons. The difference is a lot of people don't know the reasons why they work. So someone recently, it's no problem at all, but they were saying they had a trend line, and I was like, it's a stupid thing to have. Well, fucking idiots have trend lines. You know, someone else was like, oh, it was actually, there's the one time in my group that there was actually a bit of like a proper tension, which has never been. And it was like, someone else basically said, oh, trend lines are pointless. And someone took it very personally and was like, well, my strategy makes money. You know, my results speak for themselves. A big ego thing. And I didn't like that at all. Anyway, my point that I made to them was, you have a trend line on your chart and price went a certain way, right? Even if that works across data time, you know, you have the same trend line in the same place, whatever it works, it doesn't mean that that's why price is going there. And I'm telling you that for a fact. So the same with a lot of these things that people go, I use this and I use this and it makes me money. It doesn't mean that that's why price is moving it, and it really doesn't. So I don't know what SMC is like or some other stuff, but for example, a trend line is just a great example. Is you could say, okay, well, a trend line can work, right? But no, it's not the trend line that's working. It's the market algorithm, it's the orders, it's liquidity. There's other things. There's reasons for that happening. Everything has a reason for it, and the trend line being there may have absolutely no difference. So that, do you understand what I'm trying to say? There's a difference between people understanding why prices moved and just seeing price move. Does that make sense? You know, like me now, I'm not really understanding why price is moving like that. But you know, it's a very I don't like the idea of anything can work, because I think people end up trying too many different things, and they want to make something work, or they'll backtest it, and it will. You know, you ever seen someone backtest and they backtest, and when they're backtesting they win like 9 out of 10 trades, and you're like, No, you haven't. You've adjusted your back testing while you're doing it in your head to make it work. And that's my issue with it, is rather than trying to understand the market and how it works, why it works, and reading books on it and reading history on the market and reading what there is so much information out there that 9% traders will not even think about or know. And that's my issue is with that is not so much that, you know, technically, but it's the attitude towards it that I don't like. I think people need to try and understand the market rather than just trying to make money all the time. You know, I think that's bad. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just saw the moon and it's orange and it distracted me.
Do you think that any strategy, I know you said that you don't really think that anything can work, but I think it all comes down to risk management and risk to reward. Because let's say you lose 5 out of 10 trades, which is still quite decent. Like risk to reward wise, average.
Yeah, you should be making more money risk to reward than, yeah.
And if you've got, I don't know, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, you're profitable. Or break even's profitable.
Yeah, but why? But again, it goes back to why would you want to trade in a way that you're working on? It's hard to word because you don't want to word it wrong and say probability, because obviously everything is about probability in trading. It is probability, but it goes back to that. Why would you want to take a trade if there's a possibility of you losing it? If your strategy is what is going on, okay, I win 6 out of 10 trades. You can improve that. There's a reason why you're losing those trades, and there's, you know, everything can be improved. I've seen people do stupid numbers. You've seen it. You know, we all know people that have done stupid. It's possible. It's out there. It's not a case of, oh, you know, this strategy does 6 to 10, so that's great. Yes, it's profitable. That's, yeah, cool. That is good. Of course, if it's profitable, it's good. But you can understand it more, and you can be better at it, and you can do it differently, and you can, you know, understand things more. And understanding is the biggest problem that I have with things. Is people saying, okay, well, my risk to reward is good, so, you know, if I take all these 4 trades, technically speaking, on paper, I make money. But then also forget, you might make a mistake, you might miss a trade, you might miss an entry, or you might close it early, or you might move your stop. You know, you've got all these variable factors that come into it, that can make a strategy change heavily. Does that make sense? Whereas understanding doesn't change. If you understand the market and orders and things like that, I don't want to say too much, but then it doesn't change. You can mess up, but the market doesn't. It's not wrong, if that makes sense. Your strategy can be wrong. Do you know what I mean? If you have a strategy that works on risk to reward, not so much that it works on risk to reward, but if your strategy is going to be wrong and then you can be wrong, it's a bad combo. Whereas I like to understand things so that I can only be wrong. My understanding of the market is what can be wrong, but the actual way the market works cannot be wrong. It's very it's different, isn't it? It's very complicated. But like, for example, the trade that I'm in now, I know why I'm in it, and there's reasons for me being in it. And yes, it's pulling down, which is not ideal, but it's still, I know that that's going to go to target. And I will tell people now, or you can fucking take a picture, put it at the end of the video, and people can go and find out for themselves where it went. I don't care. I know it's going to target, even if it pulls down first. And this is the thing. I know in this example, I haven't made a mistake. First of all, because I've seen it happen so many times from my chart hours, that I've seen it so many times. I know that is exactly going as I want it to go. It's fine. And I also know why it's doing everything that it's doing. So that's it. It's fine. It's good. But if I don't understand what it's doing, and I just go, oh, well, you know, my risk to reward is good, that's fine. That doesn't make me feel better. It doesn't help me sleep at night, if that makes sense. If I go to sleep and I go, okay, well, I've got my stop loss there, my risk to reward is good, blah, 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 but I'm going to wake up and I might be in a loss and I might be in a win. I don't like that. I go to sleep and go, all right, I've seen, and this is the other reason sometimes I might go to sleep at 4 o'clock, because I'm waiting to see a certain thing, and then I go, seen it, go to bed, wake up, fine. You know, it's very, it's a very different understanding of things. But anyway, sorry, I'm talking about this.
Final point before we go on to the last question. You said about always like improving your understanding. I think if your win rate isn't 100%, you can still get better. Because if you're not winning every single trade, then you can still understand the markets more. And I know technically 100% win rate isn't realistic at all, but obviously you could have 99% win rate. You could have 98%, 95%. If your win rate is 70%, I mean, yes, that's good, but it could be better. You can always improve. You can always sort of level up, like psychologically, technically, like that sort of way. So the final question is from the previous guest. So Trader Nick actually asked, sum up your strategy in one sentence. So how would you go about that?
Oh, Nick. I have no idea who you are, but fuck you, man. Yeah, RSI, yeah. Nah, if I had to do it in one sentence, in a small riddle, it's the opposite of what you think I'm doing. It's the opposite of what you think I'm doing, basically. The opposite of everything. The opposite of everything. There you go. It's the opposite of everything. Yeah.
And also, can you send a question to the next guest? Obviously, you don't know who it is, so make it rather generic.
Sorry, I just want to think about it for 1 minute. Just get it right. Get a good one. Probably still won't get a good one, but I'll think about it anyway. Yeah, it's a thought that counts. Do you think anybody can trade? Is it possible to teach anybody, like, with enough teaching and enough time and enough of it? Is it possible? Can I give my answer to that as well or not? No. Yeah, I don't think that's possible. I think that's bollocks. Why? I just think some people won't cut out for it. As simple as that. But you could change someone's ability to a certain extent. This is not no. Some people just will never be able to handle it.
Mentally.
Yeah. Sorry. And they might be fantastic at other things, but they just won't. It takes a fucking lot, man. It takes a lot, and you can get to a certain extent where it's a certain level, for example, where you can make some money and it's not too stressful and it's fine or whatever, and then after a while it's too much. I just don't think it's. I think it's naive to think that you can just take anyone and make them loads of money. And I think that concept itself comes from trading industry marketing. I think the whole point of it was that, right?
To get rich quick.
Yeah, of course. That's where all the money comes from. It's a conflict of interest. Anyway, that's for the next person. I'm giving answering their own question.
So, well, that's very, very good. Nice 2 hours 40 total.
Yeah,
so thank you for coming on the podcast. I hope everyone enjoys the long episode, probably in 2 parts. So you guys have 2 treats coming up. If you're watching to this part in the video, then
a whole lot of nonsense.
So yeah, if you have any final words before we depart. Firstly, thank you for coming on the podcast, and hopefully maybe you'll come back on soon. And if people like you.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, mate. It's actually been good. It's nice to have you up here as well and meet you properly. Lots of Instagram stuff. But yeah, if you don't like me, I'm sorry. I am really sorry, but I do not give a shit at all, one bit. And you're not paying me any money, so there you go. Yeah, pay me and fuck off. But no, I hope that some people can read between the lines and some of the things I say. When I say things, that it's very extreme sometimes, but usually if you look in the right place, there is something helpful there, because everything I do is meant in a good way, somehow or other. I don't know, but yeah, thank you for having me, mate, and I'll be on at some point another time, I'm sure, and we'll talk about some other stuff, and we might even have an argument at some point. That'll be fun, right?
So yeah, catch you guys in the next episode.